have a much flatter appearance, and one would have a floor which would not be distorted at the corners of the paintings. It so happens that the chronology of Vermeer's paintings shows that Vermeer later in his career indeed moved the distance points further away from the central vanishing point in order to create floors which have a much more natural appearance than the former floor tiles or floors you made in the early paintings, where one kind of looks into a funnel with windows placed at very short receding lines here, and you would have here windows which would be of a much less distorted scale, all depending on the line of the horizon in the paintings. And I will demonstrate on another painting how this actually took place. On this beautiful painting from the Queen's collection in London, one can see Vermeer would eventually have placed a pin in the wall, one in the vanishing point, which is placed on the sleeve of the woman playing, and one on the wall to the far right. And as one can see by placing the strings, the floor tiles can be very precisely determined, and he can have used the chalk line to place all these tiles completely as they would have been according to the distance points, and with the central vanishing point, elements like the windows can be precisely estimated, and also the table in the foreground. As we have seen how precise the chalk lines have been used to create the perspective, we can make compositional drawings of the painting, and we can see how every detail of the architecture and of the floor has been carefully constructed using the distance points placed on the horizons on either side, and having the central vanishing point to coincide with this perfect creation of a spatial illusion.
One of the earliest pictures in which Vermeer was able to use his technical skill to produce an apparently simple image is The Little Street. Nothing unexpected is occurring, yet the picture seems satisfyingly complete. The children are absorbed in playing their game, which we cannot even see, nor can we fathom the thoughts of the women going about their daily tasks. Nor shall we know who lived behind those neat windows. It doesn't matter. Like the English writer Thomas Hardy, Vermeer makes us believe this will go on the same though dynasties pass. The weekly fair at Middelburg. Capital of the southern province of Zeeland, Middelburg was one of the towns that suffered siege and sometimes occupation from the armies of Spain during the 80-year war. The division in beliefs between Catholic and Protestant is still evident in the traditional costume of some of the older women. The sharp, pointed headgear is worn by the Catholics, the round bonnets by the Protestants. So brutal was the campaigning of the Duke of Alva that both sects were drawn together in opposition to the Spanish invaders. It was the resistance of the individual towns that won them freedom, generally commemorated by the splendor of the town hall. Urban pride is even visible in such a reticent artist as Vermeer. He embodied it in a brilliant display of light. Light makes the officer and laughing girl one of his most joyful pictures. Vermeer was probably influenced by looking through optical lenses that would accentuate, as photography does, the change in proportion from the nearer to the further figure. The map of Holland, connected as it is with the figure of the girl, suggests her patriotic admiration for this citizen soldier. The map still exists, a silent tribute to Vermeer's accuracy.
Luis en Veracruz, en Chiapas, en Yucatán dio buen resultado. Pero eso no es pecado. ¿O sí, padre? No, son pecadillos y así es el negocio y así.
Maps to take their land out of the sea and construct it, as well as to chart the far-flung routes of their trading vessels. They used maps to report on battles or to display civic pride. And like pictures, maps were used to decorate domestic walls. By means of his art, the painter can bring the world into his studio. But Vermeer's view of Delft almost miraculously offers the presence of the thing itself.
This painting is extremely interesting because Vermeer actually tried to build up a three-dimensionality in the surface texture. The foreground in the front has been painted with very thick paint, where the brush strokes are very visible in the paint surface still. The water, on the contrary, is very smoothly painted, and one doesn't see actual paint being applied there. The cityscape itself, on the contrary, has again got a surface texture. This time, it is built up by having large lumps of lead white in a underpaint, and further up, before the painting got this cracked pattern, the sky, we must imagine, as being also very flat and very smooth in the surface. So in fact, the heavy foreground, the smooth water, the grainy surface of the houses and the whole cityscape against the very flat sky makes a three-dimensional build-up in surface texture, which makes it very special for its period indeed. The relative smaller oeuvre of Vermeer has been explained as him being a very slow painter, but I believe that we, as well in this painting, have evidence of him being very rapid in applying his paint when he was actually busy painting. The sky is painted with very quick brush strokes, with large brushes, and in certain areas he even used the handle of the brush to indicate a rough contour of a cloud.
One of the old city gates still exists, but new buildings mask much of Vermeer's view. The distinctive towers of Delft's two churches can still be seen, though the distance between them seems to have changed. X-rays show that Vermeer made lots of small changes to the skyline. The paintings and maps on the walls of Vermeer's pictures often set a mood for the new painting. Thus, the background to the concert contains a picture that's been identified, The Procuress by Dirk van Barbaren. Music can be the food of love, but it need not, as here, be grossly sensual. Vermeer's group seem to be friends rather than lovers, coming together in one of their homes to enjoy an evening of music.